Now in this video I just want to talk about the patient's account screen. So again, if you're in the diary, the easiest way is often to click on the appointment and click account, and then that takes you through to the patient's account screen here. So what this is basically a detail of the patient's financial transactions and so forth. So what will typically be listed here is a combination of invoices and or credit payments, etc. Now, if you refund something, you will see there's refunds here as well. And that allows me to just kind of quickly get an overview of the patient's transactions and so forth. Now, you can also see these, rather than being individual invoices or credit payments, you can see it as a list of debits and credits just by clicking the transaction lists. And sometimes that's a little bit easier just to sort of scroll through and see things. However, if we go back to the invoices screen, what we can do is we can click on this arrow here and it will bring up all of the details. So it tells me, you know, how much was paid, what was the tax amount, etc. If I want to refund this, I can click the refund button here, and that will bring up a modal here which will allow me to enter refund amounts and so forth. Or if I want to delete this, I can delete it as well. If I go to a credit payment which has been used, then what will happen is, and it doesn't look like I've got one on the screen, but what will happen is it will show you a list of where the credit payment has been allocated to, as in which invoice it has been allocated to. Now, in terms of the invoices themselves, we can click this arrow again and you can see it will give you a breakdown. This one here is used allocations from a payment, and so I can delete the allocations here if I want to. That will then mean that the invoice is no longer marked as paid, and so I'll then have an outstanding invoice for the patient. Similarly with the payment as well, if I want to delete the payment, I can do that. And then, you know, if I've entered the wrong payment type or whatever, I can always delete the payment. And then I can use the enter payment button up here to actually go ahead and enter another payment against the patient or against the particular invoice. So that's how we do that. You can increase the number of rows that are shown here. If you wanted to be able to sort of see a greater number of rows, you can click between different pages, etc. You can see this is my dummy patient that I've been doing a lot of testing with, and so he has a lot of open invoices, but nonetheless you get the idea. Now, if I wanted to go back to the initial page here. If I wanted to print an invoice, what I'd just do is I'd select that and then click print selected. And then it will bring me up the option here to email the invoice to the patient, email it to a secondary person, say if there was a third party, etc., that was listed in the secondary email for the patient, if I want to address it to a third party payer, or if I want to include the next appointment. I won't do any of those, but basically if I click print, you'll see it will now open up in a separate screen, and it's got all of the details on that there for that patient. So that's how you do that. You could also do that for credit payments and so forth as well. Similarly, you can print a list of transactions if you would like to do so. It's generally not something you're probably going to do, but you can do that if you wanted. Now, we talked about entering transactions on the diary, so I won't go over it too much here, but I can click the enter transaction button and I can enter various transactions and, you know, put in service types, etc. Similarly, I can enter payments for outstanding invoices here, and I can also enter credit from this area as well. I can allocate the patient to a third-party payer. And then I can enter the patient's reference number here, so that when I'm printing invoices, I can allocate them or put them down to be billed to the third-party payer. And I can also link patient accounts here. So we do support sharing or family pooling of accounts. And so I could make this account a master account if I wanted, and so other people could use any credit that has been added to this patient, or I can make this person a secondary account to a particular patient, and then I can use that other patient's credit when I'm entering transactions for this particular patient. So hopefully that gives you a good overview of the account screen, so that you're able to use that nice and easily.